Good morning, guys. The time is currently 6:22. I'm in Elite in Stockport. I wanted to do this video just to show you that a new product that we're bringing out. It's on the website now, and I don't think I've been this excited about a product in a long time. Now, we get a lot of DMs from customers with ideas for new products. I'd love to say that we had the brains to come up with our entire range, but we don't. We get a lot of DMs from people who say, have you thought about this, have you thought about that? And we got this DM from a gentleman who said, have you thought about a way to load hyperextensions? And I said, well, just use a barbell. I mean, bit of a backstory about me. Back in 2020 or 2021, when was it? 2021, I herniated 2 discs in my lower back, L4, L5. And the surgeon said that the jam was pressing it, squeezed out of my donut, so the synovial fluid had pressed out of the vertebrae and was pressing against my sciatic nerves. I had terrible sciatica, and the surgeon just said, basically, you need to stop training, and I said, no, I'm not doing that. So I took it upon myself to rehab, and one of the things that I did that massively helped my back come back up to full power again was weighted hyperextensions. I couldn't deadlift from the floor. Just being in that position and having all the load from the floor from the start position was very painful, but I could load a hyperextension. So I got up quite heavy on hyperextensions. I got up to, I think, 2.5 plates a side on a hyperextension. So what's that, 120 kilo hyperextensions, and they felt great. My back was getting stronger, my hamstrings and glutes were getting stronger, and I did the exact opposite of what the surgeon told me to do. I trained it directly rather than shied away from training, and my back is now 90% as strong as it's been. I'm back up to deadlifting 4.5 plates. I want to be deadlifting 5 plates by the end of March. But the point of the story is that the reverse hyperextension is a fantastic movement. It's a good prehab or rehab movement. It's a fantastic alternative to something like a conventional deadlift or an RDL, or something where you're trying to limit lower back loading as much because of just the way the resistance curve is on the exercise. But there's no real way to load them heavy. And the problem is, as with all things, when you get strong, it starts to become quite difficult to load the exercise effectively. You can use a barbell, yes, but the range of motion is such that you can't really get a full stretch. So we've brought out this. We're going to call this our hyperloader. It's a piece of equipment to load hyperextensions. You can see how low it is to the floor. So those are obviously the handles where you put your hands. They're the same knurled handles that we use in our G handles. This is where you load it. It's really, really solid, and it means you can load hyperextensions and get a full range of motion. So I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. So here's a bit of a close-up for you guys. You know we had to get the laser cut G in there. They come in a textured black finish as standard. Look at that welding by Nathan. That is absolutely perfection as always. Stacking dimes. Now, I'm not hating on loaded hyperextensions with a barbell. I've done a lot of them. They're a fantastic movement. But the problem is, as you can see on the camera, look at all this extra range of motion that I'm losing here. So I've done barbell hyperextensions with 2.5 plates a side, nearly 3 plates a side quite easily. They're a fantastic movement for taking a bit of lower back loading off, because your lower back isn't loaded at the start of the movement. But what I felt was I was just losing so much of this range of motion, and even just doing that I could feel a much greater stretch in my hamstrings, glutes and lower back, and I wanted a way to get that range of motion and that bit extra out of the movement. So this is what we came up with. So you load the plates in the center like so, and then when you get on the hyperextension, I hope you can see this, I hope the gimbal moves. You can see how much more range of motion I've got there. My knuckles are basically on the floor. Hi, pal. My knuckles are basically on the floor, and even just doing that, I've got a massive stretch in my glutes, hamstrings and lower back. Oh. See, even just doing that, that's a massive improvement over a barbell. So what considerations did we need to think about when we were designing this? Well, we needed it to be... So what considerations did we need to think about? Well, we wanted a loading peg in the middle that was long enough to add a shitload of weight. Now, I want that to be long enough to add 4 plates ideally, so 160 kilos. So let's load it up. What did we want to achieve when we were designing this? I wanted a way that someone could use this as an alternative for loading a barbell. So obviously, we need it to be able to be loaded heavy. All of our customers are big boys and girls around the world who are going to lift a shitload of weight. So this is the final prototype. You can see I've got 6 20 kilo plates on this, 120 kilos. We're going to make the final version slightly longer so that you can add 8 plates in total, so 160 kilos in plates in total. If you're using calibrated plates, you'll be able to get much more on there. But this should hopefully allow people to get the greatest range of motion possible on a loaded hyperextension. And that brings me to the name. I think we're going to call it the Hyperloader, which I quite like as a name. So comment below if you think we should call it the Hyperloader. If you've got another name suggestion, comment below. But we're really, really happy with how these come out. Like I say, I think these are a world first. From testing, I think it's going to be an absolute game changer for people with lower back problems, people who just want to train the hyperextension effectively, better than a barbell. Because a barbell, when you're doing it, like you say, it's sort of a half range of motion almost, especially if you've got long arms like me. So I made a comment on Instagram the other day. I've teased a few people saying that I think every PT studio in the world could do with one of these, because when space is a luxury and you've not got too much space, you've only got a limited number of barbells, then something like this will allow people to load hyperextensions really, really effectively. And like I said, I don't think there's anything else like this on the market, so I'm super excited to release this. They are on the website now, guys. As you know, they're made in the UK and we ship worldwide. I'm absolutely delighted with how they've come out. I'm going to try 3 plates. Yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with how they've come out. They're going to be an absolute game changer for a lot of people's training. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, comment below if you want to see anything else, and check them out on the website. They're made in the UK and we ship worldwide.